Can I follow your buttocks?
I'm sorry?
Can I follow your buttocks?
One more time.
Can I follow your buttocks?
I don't know what
Can
you're
I follow your buttocks?
I don't know what you're saying here.
Can I follow his buttocks?
No. He cannot.
Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck. Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us on the Be Good Humans podcast.
Yes.
That is Trey, I am Brian, and we've got a great show for you today.
Indeed we do. You know why?
Mm-hmm.
Because we are going to talk about some of the most important or OG good humans in our lives, Brian. You know who I'm talking about?
Grandparents, Trey.
Grandparents. Grandparents are like the formative examples of good humans, and I want to hear about your grandparents.
Well, I've said on past shows how lucky I've been, to have great grandparents. At one time, I'll repeat myself, but I had two grandmas, two grandpas, a great grandma, two great grandmas, and a great grandpa.
Unbelievable.
And that was up until I was a teenager.
Yeah.
My family married early, but I love them. I love my grandmas, so I miss them so very, very much.
Were they both grandma? Is that what you called both of them?
Yeah, grandma.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Grandma Phelps and Grandma Simmons, but I honestly do. I miss them.
Okay.
I was very, very fortunate to have great grandparents, loving grandparents, and spent a lot of time with my grandparents because both my mom and dad worked long hours.
Right, so they were there.
Yeah, and every Friday I still remember mom and dad would pull up in front of one of my grandparents' houses, and I don't even think they slowed down. They just pushed us out of the car, and we
Tuck and roll.
and we got to spend the night with one of our grandma and grandpas because I found out obviously later on when I grew a little older that they were just having some romantic time. They would check into a motel. Like the Best Western or something,
Sure.
and they would have a night.
Hey, mom and dad got to do what mom and dad got to do.
Have a nice bottle of Lancers and knock it out.
Exactly. But meanwhile, you're with your grandparents.
Yeah, and I'll never forget Grandma Phelps. She used to have this little red pocket knife. Okay, and it was like on a keychain, and she'd hook it to her purse. And I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
And to a boy who watches his dad and his grandfather mainly whittle and do all these things with this, I wanted that.
Oh, who wouldn't?
It was Brian size.
Oh yeah, of
It was
course.
red. It was like little. It was. You folded it up. I wanted that so bad. So finally, one day, she's sitting on the couch with her pocket knife, cleaning her fingernails. And I thought, now's as good a time as any. I said, Grandma, can I have that? And my grandma says, I'll never forget this. She goes, when I'm done with it. And I went, great. I'm thinking to myself, great.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
She's going to do 2 more nails. She's almost done. And I get this pocket knife. Oh my God. Oh my God. She finished cleaning her nails and she hooks it back up on her purse. Back on her purse. She didn't here you go.
Yeah, of course.
She put it back on her purse. So I said, Grandma, I thought you were, when you're going to get, I told you, when I'm done with it. Okay. So now I'm staring at her.
Right.
She's watching TV or doing whatever she was doing.
Right.
The purse is over here.
Yeah, right.
And it's got the knife on it, and
It's
she's not
being used.
using
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, sure.
When I'm done with it. So parents picked me up later that afternoon, and we're driving back. 15-mile drive to Cambridge, and my mom said, "So how was Grandma? You guys have a good time?"
Sure.
Grandma lied to me, and I told her the whole story. Now, my parents, imagine this: your 6-year-old son wants to know when he's going to get this knife, but the grandma has told me, when I'm done with it. How are they going to tell me that what she meant was when she dies, I'll get the knife? So they had to be very
delicate. There's
going to
come a time.
It's going to be a while, we hope, before you get that knife. That was my Grandma Phelps.
She sounds amazing. My grandparents,
yours.
my paternal grandfather died very young in World War II. When my dad was just a kid. My maternal grandfather died when I was a kid. But his wife, my grandmother, Alice, I think I've mentioned her before, really important person in my life because she made me feel important for the first time. That was really a special relationship I had with her. But get this, Brian. I am blessed to tell you that not only is my paternal grandma still with us,
but so lucky.
Today, Brian, is actually my grandma Helen's 98th birthday.
Where is she right now?
She is in Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Okay. We have to.
Should we call her?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna call
Ryan, we're gonna make a call for the first time.
All right, here we go. We're gonna call my grandma Helen.
Do I call her Grandma Helen or?
Let me lead.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Grandma. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Well, Grandma, I'm calling to say happy birthday with my dear friend Brian. We are in the middle of our podcast, and we are so excited that today is your 98th birthday.
I'm so excited to hear from you and Brian.
Well,
just hearing good things about your partner.
Oh, well, thank you for that. Do I call her Grandma or Grandma Helen?
Grandma, is it okay if he calls you
Grandma?
Call her Grandma.
Oh, it'd be my honor to call you Grandma.
Call me Grandma.
What sort of a grandson was Trey? Because he sings your praises all the time.
Well, Trey's always been a fun kid.
Yeah.
He could think of more things to get into, Brian. And we had to get up early if we could keep up with him.
Well,
I tell you, he's something to be proud of. He and his sister both.
Well, that feeling is completely mutual, Grandma. So Grandma is 98 today. As I said, that's 1926. And just to sort of give it the proper historical context, when my grandma was born, the United States was celebrating its sesquicentennial. That's the 150th anniversary. The first transatlantic phone call was made in 1926. Queen Elizabeth, Fidel Castro, and Marilyn Monroe were all born the same year as my grandma. The amazing Gertrude Ederle was the first woman who successfully swam across the English Channel. Babe Ruth was the first baseball player to hit 3 home runs during a World Series game. Winnie the Pooh was published the same year that my grandma was born. Grandma, you are keeping some quite historic company, but you are completely historic in my life and in your endless reservoirs of love that you gave to me and my sister and everyone in our family. And I am just so delighted to have you on this podcast.
And I'm just delighted, Trey, to be with you.
We are putting up a picture of you on the screen, and a couple of things stand out. Number one, and I'm not just saying this, I would say it even if you weren't, but I'm telling you, you are gorgeous.
Yes, she's a beautiful woman.
And number two, we apparently have the same hairstylist, because that's about what my hair looks like, and it looks much better on you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, she wears it much better, yes. But Grandma, how are you celebrating today? I hope you're going to be blowing out some candles at some point.
Well, your dad is here and brought a beautiful lemon cake and all kinds of gifts, and you know, that he loves you, and so he wanted to be here and listen to our conversation.
Well, he's a good boy, and you're a great mom.
You just talk real loud now, honey, because my telephone's not a good one.
Well, not to worry. We don't want to keep you too long because I know you've got lots of celebrating to do, but I just wanted to call. We both wanted to call, wish you a very happy birthday, and tell you how much I love you. You are one of the most important people in my life, and always have been and always will be.
I feel the same way, Trey.
Well, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Many more. And today's your day, so go do something wild.
Just kick up my heels, huh?
Exactly.
Well, I was thinking this morning, and I've been so blessed and thankful to have you enkindle in my life and to see you successful in not only your work, but your personal life.
And his children, Grandma, all 3 of them are so incredible.
Yeah, you've got...
to be able to live and see the Alpha and Omega to it, you know.
Yeah,
that's right.
First and last letters in the Greek alphabet. So God's been good to me. Now I can see the children, grandchildren, all grown up, successful like their parents.
And not just your grandchildren, but you've got great grandchildren, 4 of them.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay. Well, fantastic.
I'm getting ahead of my story.
Well, no, not at all. Grandma, we love you very much. Happy birthday. We're going to let you go now so you can open those presents. Please give Dad a big hug from me, but especially give yourself a big hug. We love you. Happy birthday.
Well, Trey, I love you with all my heart, hon. And you've been a blessing since day one. And all the excitement of looking for you that 9 months. And Brian, I'm just glad you and Trey are friends. And I believe your good program's going to make it.
Well, thank you.
Be too kind to people.
Thank you. It's like you said, it's just a blessing that I know him, and you've done a good job as a grandma. He again sings your praises.
All right, we got to stop this before I start crying. All right, Grandma.
I was kind of getting choked up too.
Happy birthday, Grandma. We'll talk to you later, okay?
Bye.
Thank you.
All righty.
Oh,
wow. Okay, so that's my 98-year-old Grandma Helen.
And first of all, when she said, "Could you speak up because my phone's not too good?" What kind of grandson are you? Buy her a new phone.
A terrible one.
I mean, what the hell?
Exactly. I'm obviously, we were both blessed to have these incredibly close relationships with grandparents.
Yep.
But, not everybody always has that, right? Sometimes for complex emotional reasons, sometimes just geographical distance makes it hard. Mm-hmm. But when we come back, my friends, we are going to do
I smell a hook coming.
Yes, we are going to do the very best we can to make up for anybody who maybe doesn't have as close a relationship with their grandparents, because we are going to have the great privilege of introducing you to someone who is not only a loving grandparent in real life, but has also played one of the most beloved grandparents in television history.
Wait a minute. Does this character she plays, does the character's name rhyme with seesaw?
It might.
Does it rhyme with hee-haw?
It might.
I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm just going to tell him.
No. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Here's...
Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Dear good humans, it is an absolute honor and privilege right now to welcome to our show one of the very best humans on the planet. This is a Kentucky girl. She got her BFA in theater from Stevens College in Missouri. She's also a visiting professor, dedicated board member. She basically took everything she learned, Brian, mixed it with this God-given talent she was born with, then proceeded to make the whole world fall in love with her through some unforgettably iconic characters. We're talking about Iona in Pretty in Pink, or Mary Jo Shively in Designing Women, Janine Melnitz in the Ghostbusters franchise. She is the voice of Bo Peep in the Toy Story movies, not to mention all kinds of Emmy and Screen Actors Guild nominated roles in shows like Love and War, Any Day Now, Chicago Med, Scandal, Law and Order SVU, Grey's Anatomy, 2.5 Men. She has been... had incredible stage roles on Broadway, off Broadway, and just in case any of you have been living under a rock for the past 7 seasons, she has played one of the most beloved characters on the long-running hit CBS sitcom Young Sheldon. That's right, Brian.
Meemaw!
Yes.
Meemaw's here!
Meemaw is here. Meemaw is here.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time because her accolades were so lengthy. We have no time to talk to her because she's done so many wonderful things.
But we're gonna. Please join us in welcoming the one and only Annie Potts.
Annie! Pleasure.
Hi, guys.
Hi, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Well,
it's a pleasure just to be on a show called Be Good Humans. I'm so flattered.
Well, you are absolutely among the best of them, and we are delighted to have you. So we're talking about grandparents today, Annie, and so that makes me want to ask first, like, How close were you with your grandparents? Did you have a close relationship with them? Not everybody does.
My father's parents, they lived far away, so we didn't see them often. And my maternal grandfather died when I was young, and so I was pretty close to my maternal grandmother. She didn't live far away, and she was quite a character. She was. I don't want to say she wasn't nice. She was kind of rough. She wasn't like sit on my lap and let me read you a book or anything. She was funny.
Had a little edge to her.
She had a little bit of edge to her, but she did later on in life, after my grandfather died, she'd never worked in her life, but she had a friend who did it, and she became a dorm mother. At Western Kentucky University. And so she had like 250 girls. And I used to go stay with her on weekends because it was really fun. I'd walk the halls and drop into rooms and hang out with the college girls. And they thought she was awesome. And I mean, they were like, oh my God, your grandmother is, I was like,
really?
Wow.
We're talking about the same woman?
So it was interesting that she had, and this was like in the 1960s. So not a lot of women worked outside the home, even grandmothers. Right. And that she had this whole other life where all these young women just adored her was very interesting to me. And
it's amazing.
We got friendly after that. We had a different kind of thing. She took me under her funny little wings, and I never forgot it.
That's lovely. Okay, so what about when you had kids? What was that like? The transition of seeing your parents become grandparents?
Well, I'm the youngest of my siblings, so they were they had already experienced that, and but they lived in Palm Springs then, and so they were pretty close. I used to go out every weekend with my first son, and is just wonderful. And my parents divorced after 40 years of marriage because that was enough. But my dad was around, and he was very, very close to all my sons, and just adored. They adored each other.
And now, Andy, you're a grandparent yourself. First of all, what do they call you, your grandchildren, and what do you love most about being a grandparent?
I love everything about it.
Are you one of those that like, here's some money, here's everything you need, I can spoil you?
Well, they're still little. They're. I have one who's 2 and one who's 3, so they're really tiny. So they're not, stealing money out of my wallet yet. But I would let them, and I wouldn't say anything about it.
Yes, you would.
But one of the wonderful things is that you pretty much get to see that the work you've put in on your own children. You see that reflected in the way they talk to and handle their children, the way they rock them, the way they pet them on their backs or whatever, and you can go, wow. It's just
it's like a deja vu moment.
Totally. And it's like, Cupid dart to the heart time, that kind of love. And it's wonderful. I have to say, both of my sons who have the babies are wonderful fathers, and I love seeing them in that role.
Let me ask my partner, if I may. are you looking for? Your kids are now all getting.
I have 3 20-somethings.
Yeah,
yes.
20-somethings. So, are you looking forward to being a grandfather?
I really am.
Yeah, I think you'd be a great granddad.
I really am. My daughter has 2 dogs. She loves dogs passionately, and she and her boyfriend have 2 dogs, and she's fond of calling them my grand dogs, right? And I love dogs too, so I sort of play into that. But secretly, there's a part of me that's like, I can't wait till we're not just talking about dogs here.
Oh yeah, I can see you in that role.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun, but for the reasons that Annie is getting to, which I hadn't really thought about, which is like, you do start to see all the hard work you put in as a parent. You start to see that blossom in its own way for the next generation, and that love keeps on giving. I love that.
And Annie, if we may, I talk a little showbiz here. What personality traits? And well, first of all, the aunt or the grandparent you're talking about, where all your friends love her, but you were like, really? Is there any of her in your character, Meemaw?
Oh yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, because she's kind of an amalgam, but there's yes, I drew heavily from the women in my family for her. I didn't have to look far.
Well, just for the maybe 2 or 3 people who have in the world who haven't seen it, Young Sheldon was the successful spin-off prequel to the hit series Big Bang Theory. And it's all about this child prodigy who's grown up with his family in this fictional East Texas town. But Annie plays this iconic role as Constance Connie Tucker, who is much more lovingly known as Meemaw.
Brilliantly.
But she is like the fun-loving, sarcastic beating heart at the center of the show. So you're saying that's informed by a lot of different women, I gather.
Yes. And my mother in part, my grandmother, my sister, but interestingly, people have said, well, do your grandchildren call you Meemaw? It's like, how weird would that be? I mean, it's weird enough if you're watching a Pixar cartoon and the doll has your grandmother's voice.
Right. Wow.
Like, what? That's weird.
Yeah, I would think you would make that off limits if it wasn't already.
Is there anything you've learned from Meemaw, developing and being that character that is influenced in the way you grandparent?
What's been interesting to me is that because we started that 7 years ago, I didn't have grandchildren, and the children on the show who played my grandchildren were little. They were just they were 8 years old when we started, and they're very loving children. And people used to say, well, what's it like working with children? It's like they sit on my lap and play with my hair and my rings and kiss me and hug me and tell me they love me all day. I have never had that with any other actor. It's like holy, and they still come and sit in my lap and kiss me and hug me and tell me they love me. So I got to practice with the most loving starter set of children. I just saw them a couple of days ago, and they were.
That's beautiful. That's rare, as you say, in this business. But also, I think it's a rare portrayal of a grandparent that you played so beautifully for all those years, Annie. Because for all of her spiciness, right, there's a real undercurrent of patience and love in Meemaw's character.
And compassion.
Especially when it comes to Sheldon, because she just sort of had this steadfast belief that even if she doesn't always understand him, he's eventually going to find his way, which is that level of support that I got from my grandparents. Sounds like you got from yours.
You can't get that with every actress, no matter how good she is. You have to be you have something inside you, and Annie absolutely does.
And really captured beautifully, Annie, that sort of prototypical love that bonds so many people so closely with their grandparents. You must have heard that from fans over the years.
I have. And I do this thing called Cameo, where because I have a charity,
which we are definitely going to talk about.
Oh, good. But, people on Cameo, they can request for you to give a pep talk or a happy birthday greeting to their loved ones. And most often it's for their children. And often it is for kids who are on the spectrum or, and they're like, we know you'll understand. Could you say, and I just, I'm so grateful that because of a role that I played, that I'm trusted to carry those messages. That it's the gravy on top of a lovely feast.
Sure.
And I'm so happy to do it. And all the money that I get from telling people I love them and happy birthday goes right into the charity. So it's a nice circular thing.
Well, we definitely want to talk about that charity now because, Annie, you've always been one of those actors who people just feel is real. Like no matter what role you're playing, your heart's in the right place. So it really comes as no surprise that you are also behind this truly beautiful charity called the Heart Channels. Can you tell us more about the Heart Channels?
Yes. Years ago, I was down, we've been going to the same little island in the Caribbean for 30 years. And I met a little boy on the beach and I was about to go for a swim and he wanted my goggles. And I said, yeah, sure. And then he took my hand and pulled me into the ocean with him. He wanted to play. And it didn't take but a minute for me to realize that he didn't have any language. And his mother came down and was swimming with us. And I said, what's going on with your boy? And she said she didn't know. She'd never gotten a diagnosis. He was 8 years old at that time. And I thought, oh my God. So I thought, what can I do to help? And I tried to look on the island, and there really wasn't much help for him. And I reached out to friends and then I wrote a little book about him to be sold on the island for proceeds to go to him and the one little place on the island that was helping children with special needs. And anyway, he just turned 18 and graduated from high school in England, where we helped to get him there. Wow. Where the UK has totally supported him and his family, and his sister is in university and wants to be a doctor, and his mother went back to school, and anyway, I'm just so proud of them, and
we're proud of you.
Well, I've had great fortune in my life, and I wanted to pass it along, and I found how good it feels to be helping people, and I now have this I've been in the business of doing that for long enough it's the most meaningful thing, aside from being a mother and a grandmother now. It's everything. And so a couple of my girlfriends and I started this thing. So when people, and it's mostly single mothers that we help, who, a lot of times so if they have to move or something, and to get into a new place, they need a first, last, and security deposit. Right. And if they don't have that, they end up sleeping in their car under an overpass. And sometimes if we can just bridge the gap between that, so that's a lot of what we do. We're also helping several Afghani families who worked for the U.S. in Afghanistan and then got to come here.
It's an amazing organization, Annie. I mean, Heart Channels, as they describe themselves, this is an organization where neighbor to neighbor, heart to heart, 100% of your donations go directly to people who need it. Like Annie said, this is single mothers, this is college funds for dreamers,
helping refugee families resettle in the U.S.
Exactly,
homes for those who help others.
That's right, and it's just devoted to education, quality of life, health, and well-being, and an amazing organization that you've put together. And so So if people want to learn more about Heart Channels, how can they do that? How can they get involved? How can they help support your cause?
Well, they can go, on our website, theheartchannels.org, and check it out. I would love inquiries, and it would be fantastic if because there's always more and more need. And we welcome donations.
Okay.
Absolutely. So that's theheartchannels.org. We're going to post a link to that on our website as well, BeGoodHumansPodcast.com.
Annie, you've been so kind to join us today. And we know you don't have your wig or anything, but do you think Meemaw has any grandmotherly advice for Trey and I?
I would just say, be good humans.
Love it. Love it.
That's all. It's easy. It's so easy to help, and it's so
Yes, it is.
gratifying.
That's the thing. It's also sometimes it can kind of feel selfish because it makes you feel so good.
Yeah.
To do something that like the 8-year-old you're talking about. I mean, just
if you want to feel good about yourself, do something selfless.
Yes. Yes. Well, here's something that's not selfless, because I would be remiss if I didn't share this with you.
Oh, okay.
And we can edit it out if we don't think it's appropriate. But Annie, I've always had a crush on you, as millions of people have.
Yes.
For many of the reasons we've talked about today.
Yep.
But I think it all began with you as a spokesman for Pop Secret popcorn. I have never.
Oh my God.
I have never ever seen anyone eat popcorn more sexy than you. Just sexy.
I often refer to those commercials as pop porn.
Oh yeah,
I've never seen anything quite so sexy.
I mean, you. Oh my God, your comic timing, your acting chops are great, but then all of a sudden I'm seeing you as a sex symbol. I mean, and I have to this day, and you're gorgeous as you sit there, and to this day I've always had a crush on you because of a popcorn commercial.
Well, listen, there's worse ways to make a living, right, Annie?
It was a good gig.
Great.
And it was written for me by a girlfriend that I went to college with.
Really?
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. She thought of it and wrote it directly for me. It was all double entendre.
Wow.
And then the conservative organization that owned that popcorn found them a little too sexy.
Really?
And after 3 years, they literally replaced me with a clown.
Yeah, by the way, that's after 3 years of selling a shit ton of popcorn,
Right,
I'm sure.
Right.
Yes. I could have sold some more, though.
Oh,
I'm
yes,
sure
you could
that's
have.
true.
And I look forward to it.
yeah.
I loved it. When I saw the first one, I was, enthralled. Big crush on Eddie Potts. Then they made a second one? And I'm calling all my guy friends who all had the same crush on you. And then it continued, and I couldn't wait for the next one to come out.
Amazing. But then again, no surprise, because you are amazing, Annie. We cannot thank you enough for taking the time to chat with us today. Again, go visit theheartchannels.org to get more information on that incredible charity, but also just keep your eyes posted, because you never know where Annie's going to pop up next. But thank you for taking the time in your busy day to talk to us.
Thanks, Annie.
Thank you, guys.
Be good humans, be good humans, be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Welcome back. First of all, okay,
Yeah.
I meant it when I said big crush.
Yeah, with good reason.
And secondly, she really showed a lot of people listen to this podcast and all podcasts, but we're also, on camera and our guests are on camera, and go to YouTube and, put in Be Good Humans podcast and you'll see this episode because I want to bring attention to the fact that I've always found her to be just a comic genius.
Yeah,
you
no
know,
question.
comic acting. I mean, that's hard to do.
No.
And her timing, and she showed her timing in this. And I don't know if you kind of noticed this, but every time she had a punchline, she would lean towards the camera and kind of get a little bit louder. And oh God, that cracked me up.
That is.
And this is just on a laptop camera, and she's still working the camera.
Oh, that's a skilled professional right there.
So brilliant.
Without question. So an absolute pleasure to have her, and an absolute pleasure to have you guys again. Please go check out our website, where we will drop that link for theheartchannels.org. Our website is begoodhumanspodcast.com. While you're there, tell us about the Be Good Humans in your life. Tell us about any pointers you have on being a good human. Follow us on the socials. Am I forgetting anything else?
YouTube, you can like us.
YouTube is, yes, definitely like us and subscribe. If you do go, and you should go and check out Annie and her cool glasses. Not to mention the Pop Secret ad. We'll see how that fits in there as well. But
I want some popcorn.
Yeah, exactly. On that note, we should wrap this up right now.
You get the butter.
Thank you very much for joining us, and do us a favor. Be good humans.
Be good humans. Be good humans. Be good humans, or we will think you suck.
Be Good Humans is executive produced by Brian Phelps, Trey Calloway, and Grant Anderson, with associate producers Sean Fitzgerald and Clementine Calloway, in partnership with Straw Hut Media. Please like, follow, and subscribe, and remember, be good humans.